Are they free?
When I was in Japan, I had obviously a very serious toe injury, and the specialist felt that it was career-ending. It took me 18 months to be able to run properly again and have to learn how to jump off the other foot.
He had to change his whole way he had to play, of the way he jumped, the way he moved because of what was happening with his injuries. That takes a lot of strength.
Through that, I realised that something I can control is if I change the way I eat, if I search for something that can give me an edge, it might help cover up the pain I'm in daily with my toe. That change with me at 23 helped me play to 35. And I'm sure that without that, my body would have stopped me a lot earlier. It gave me an elite focus on every detail that can help me get an edge because of an injury that I thought may end my career.
That's the type of determination, that's the type of work ethic, that's the mentality that Popper has. You could almost say he's part machine.
Taken by Lazaridis. Popovic! Back post, he's a scorer now. And it is England 0, Australia 1.
The ultimate professional. He always gave 100%.
He was so reliable and he worked so hard.
He was a great leader. He was strong. He was physical. I mean, you don't get a name, especially in the Australian team, as the enforcer if you're not a tough character.
He had huge respect from everybody he worked with and also within the playing group. That was, I think, what meant a lot to Popper.
Always very focused on his training, very focused on maintaining his body at the optimal level.
He was a wonderful professional. You know, he really looked after himself. He definitely got the maximum out of his body.
I was fit and I was lean. Him and Brett Hamilton were on a different level.
Tony Popovic won't be participating against Argentina after Bastian Schweinsteiger's horror tackle.
I remember the Confederation Cup. I did my ankle in a challenge against Germany, and I went 5 months without playing. But I was determined to try and show that I could play in the qualifiers without any preparation, without any games. I got to the point that when we went to Uruguay, I was probably just going to be a squad player that hadn't played at all. But, you know, that dedication and that training gave me an opportunity to be in front of Gus and Arnie and show that, OK, if we choose, Tony Popovic can be an option. And that's all I wanted. You know, Gus had us so primed. Whatever he asked us to do, we couldn't wait to do it. We were desperate to get to a World Cup, and we were physically and mentally ready, you know. I still remember and recall him being so relaxed in the change room in Uruguay, you know, sitting there and he's just watching his little DVD player. And I remember him pulling me over and saying, have a look at this goal, what a great goal. And that stuck with me. You know, for us, it's like just the biggest game of all. We're dreaming of trying to get to a World Cup. And he's a head coach with so much experience. And maybe it was deliberate from him to show how calm he was, but I took a lot from that. When everyone around the players is calm, you feel you're ready to play, they trust you. You know, he knew how to get the best out of every player. He pushed the buttons, he pushed the limits.
Tony, you know, I could tell was really intrigued by Gus's training, and I felt that was a huge step towards Tony realising that he wants to be a coach and a detailed coach. You know, we used to talk about Gus's tactical awareness, his sessions, how he managed players, big players, Harry Kewell, Viduka at the particular time, and how he got the best out of them. Tony, I felt, come out of that World Cup knowing what he exactly wanted to be.
Being picked to play for your country in a World Cup against Brazil is earned, it's on merit, and I'm very proud of that fact. And after all those difficulties to where it ended up, it was a fantastic experience, you know, a dream, really.
One of my biggest dreams was to play for my country at a World Cup, and to top it off in South America is an unbelievable experience. Still get goosebumps thinking about it. It was a dream come true, and, you know, fortunate enough that I was able to represent my country at a World Cup and play against some of the best players in the world.
Davidson is off because he's already booked, and he will miss the Melbourne derby next week.
One of the reasons that Jason got red carded, he's under fatigue. He Didn't quite move his feet very well. He lunges a little bit.
His condition maybe contributed to the red card. His fitness is not at the level required for him to show his best. So we're giving him some extra sessions to help him be better.
My body fat, he thinks is a bit high. He and I believe that there's a lot more in the tank. So I think he's pushing me to not get complacent. There's not many coaches out there that actually take the time to care about you and to push you to get to where they think you can get to.
To play the game at the intensity that we want, and for him to achieve what he tells me he wants to achieve, which is the highest level, and get back into Socceroos and be the best player at Melbourne Victory, he needs to improve a lot.
I think he's frustrated as well with the red card and not being able to play this week. You want to play against the best teams. This is probably the biggest game for us. Not to be able to help my teammates and the club get the result that we want today, it hurts.
Melbourne City in a demolition derby at Marvel Stadium. They have hit the victory for 6.
This was just a game that got away from us. In the end, it was actually quite embarrassing, and it probably could have been a lot worse than 6. I think everybody said, well, that's got to be the lowest point. It can't get any worse than that.
What on earth is wrong with Melbourne Victory?
There's a gulf between the two teams. Melbourne City is a much, much better team than Melbourne Victory.
Derbies were meant to be close and entertaining. Last year was like, what's going on here? Like, seriously.
7! Humiliation for the victory. It's 13 goals without reply in 2 derbies this season.
It was a really dark day in the club's history. The fact that it was against our biggest rivals was probably what hurt the most.
I just remember us getting into the change room, and a lot of us boys been on the verge of tears because of the embarrassment and the humiliation of that moment.
I hate that they walk around and able to say that they beat us 7-0, that we didn't throw a punch.
In 2 games against this mob, we have now shipped 13 unanswered goals. We just keep redefining these new depths. We're not just bottoming out here, we're free-falling.
People are looking at Melbourne Victory and thinking, what the hell? I mean, how does this behemoth get it so wrong and put itself on its knees so candidly?
The worst feeling a club can engender amongst its rivals isn't hatred, it's pity.
It was a downward spiral. You can't change history, but we can change the future.
We must be aggressive. Be aggressive, be relentless in every action. And your opponent, trust me, will feel it. We have courage today. With the ball, we win this game. Make sure today we have the courage to put on a show that you're capable of.
Taken quickly, very quickly, and Melbourne Victory are in front. Francesco Margiotta. The boot still.
Don't go there. Stay here. Stay here. Be ruthless now. Punish and finish him off. You know they're coming. Not be afraid of them.
And they almost had an equaliser there. Moved the cross to the back post. Fantastic ball. Jamie McLaren. Again, one of his marauding runs. Was crossed back post. The boot. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Onto the right foot. The cross in. It's not a bad one. D'Agostino's header. Tilio for McLaren. Too close to Caliver again. McLaren was offside. Referee allows play to continue. D'Agostino. Is this the moment for victory? It is! They've equalised again! Nick D'Agostino. What a contest! What a match of football! Back post. D'Agostino is there. Sporanovic as well. Guerilla cleared off the line. Melbourne City. In it comes near post. Galloway. The ball in. Oh, and what defending. Still a lunge. The follow-up. O'Neill's shot blocked. McLaren. And Victory get it clear. But how on earth?
Oh my God. Unbelievable finish to this game.
It has had absolutely everything.
think today we had a real derby. The game can get away from you quickly, okay? We're up 1-0. We conceded when we were on top. That's football, that can happen, okay? Then we conceded another one, and then is the big challenge. So we're growing. 2-2, we had some chances, we could win, and the best part is at the end, when they break away and we have 7 players transitioning back, putting their bodies on the line. That's what you've got. You've got something. They know now, they have a real derby now.
We wanted to show them that, you know, we will compete with you this year. When we play you, it's a different Melbourne Victory to what you've seen the last few years. In a big derby, big crowd, big intensity. You know, we did a good job against a very good side.
Details are the key.
He's a detail coach. It's very, very simple.
In terms of how he works, the biggest thing you probably hear is about the detail.
You got to move your feet.
How to run, or degrees of your body position, or when to drop, when to stay up. You may think it's like, Jesus, over the top, like I was just, you know, half a yard. But it's like, that's the difference between a goal or not conceding a goal. It can be a bit intense, but in football, things are decided by fine margins.
I'm talking about the smallest inches, you know, what shoulder's going in front of which to challenge, you know, what foot you're jumping off of.
It was one step here, one step there at training and in games. Every little angle was covered with Popper.
If someone's going here, as soon as you do that, ask any attacker here, they're over the moon. All of our defenders, he's going there. It's a left foot. Then if he cuts in, I can block him again. I never do that. I do that, it's over.
I remember we used to do video session every single day.
In this day and age, analysis is at the forefront of everything. The boss has taught me that everything has a purpose.
These 4 can be dangerous when they get the ball.
I hadn't experienced the level of detail in analysing games, analysing body positioning, footwork. He set the bar very, very high.
You've got to be in here, defend the goal. So they're just little details for us, and I'm showing you things that happen once in the game. But that's a detail in a big game, okay? That we fix those little things that only happen once.
Things he's thinking of, I feel sorry for him. I don't think he sleeps.
Success in sport is a really fine line, and you need to be on top of those details or rely on luck. And one thing Popper doesn't rely on is luck.
We can talk about Jay's clearance. That's, you know what that's for? That's for my grandmother. When she sits at home and goes, oh yeah, that boy should have cleared the ball better. Anyone can see that. Look at this, when the ball gets crossed. For me, this is why you concede. Walk. You can't walk as a defender. No, if we're up and inside, he doesn't score. That's here, attention to detail. Don't tell me he's just training. How you train is how you play.
Hey, how are you? I knew there was something amiss.
Just got off the call with our human performance manager, and a further 2 players are symptomatic. This morning, on the back of 6 guys testing positive over the late back end of last week, and now another 2 players likely to be out who would have started, which sort of takes 8 in total that won't be available. It's never ideal on match day to lose 2 players that would have otherwise started. But, you know, that's what the fog of COVID brings.
I remember that morning from Adelaide's game that I started feeling really bad.
Me, along with, I think, many other people would tell you that we felt something wasn't right in terms of how we were feeling.
I was taking tests and I was negative, so we could play.
And you're doing the daily swabs and they're negative as well, so you're just like, yeah, you feel average. Sometimes you feel average, sometimes you don't. Like, you still got to play.
Unity is all of us. Unity is the boys that are at home that can't be here. Some are sick, some are not sick, but unfortunately, this is the world we're living in now. Players aren't here. Let's win, so when they come back, they're happy.
I sat at home watching a home game. It's probably the first time I've ever done that in my life. Like, if I haven't been in the squad or injured, you're at the stadium, you know, so I think it's the first time I've ever watched a Melbourne Victory game on TV.
Jota, Cruz, Rojas, Davidson, Sporanovic and Economides are all missing tonight. One of only 2 fixtures to survive the ravages of the pandemic. Here's D'Agostino. Oh! What about that from Nick D'Agostino? That is a thunderbolt. To be Lopez on the right. Lopez's cross, Guerrier backpedaling and volleyed in by Craig Goodwin. Extraordinary.
We have some injuries. We have some players that are following COVID protocols. So we have a large number of players unavailable. Maybe I'll learn more tomorrow. As we know, it's very fluid and changes daily or hourly. So we'll come in and do a recovery tomorrow, and if we learn some more, then you know, we'll deal with what's in front of us.
My mum has it, my dad has it, my brother's got it, my brother's girlfriend's got it, my brother-in-law had it. Everyone's getting it. So we'll probably have a few more tomorrow. Lucky there's no game midweek. Crazy times.
Situation is regular COVID tests. They're coming frequently, and you know, everyone's sort of on edge about everything that's going on, but that's the world we live in at the moment, and we're trying to deal with it the best way we can. Like I said, I wasn't a bit worried.
This last week in the societies, there was 50,000 plus cases in Victoria yesterday, and we're starting to see a few cases within our group. The way things are going and the high level of infectivity of this virus, it's very possible there's a cluster. We hope not, but it's possible it's there.
%98% of us got positive results, and since that moment, we're just trying to isolate ourselves from everybody, from the rest of the world, and that's it. You just need to live with it.
So obviously you need to be without symptoms for like a period of time.
We need to be responsible. It's not only about us, it's about everybody around us.
Maybe the vaccines are working a little bit. We hope so.
Virtually every staff member and player in the football department, bar 4 or 5, got struck down with COVID.
It was just me, Brendan, Ben, Spira, and Davo. Everybody from the staff was out. It was a strange week, strange 10 days.
I think that was a very difficult period because my partner had to do everything. Because I was staying in the spare bedroom, I didn't want to get the kids sick.
First day back after 7 days ISO. It's just going to be a bit of a reintroduction session for the boys. We're going into the unknown. We don't know how everyone's going to react, so today will be a little bit of a tester.
On fire.
I hope everyone feels good. We had a difficult period now, 7 days, a lot of us out. I know you've been doing stuff at home, and they're the little things that you don't see, but they're the things that will help you get through this period better. If you've looked after yourself with food, if you've done a bit of training, if you felt healthy, that's going to help you now when you come back. And if you haven't, tell us and we'll help you get through this period. There's a very gradual build-up of training and trying to understand how every individual feels and respect that. It took a bit of time to get everyone back up to speed.
COVID affects everyone in a very variable way. There were some that it did affect their training.
Feeling a little bit. It's important for us as well to ensure that everybody's safe, healthy and confident with their body again after especially a respiratory condition. Everyone had the chance and option to go and get all these scans for their own peace of mind as well, and just to make sure everything's okay.
We made the first test and we got the results. The doc called me and he told me that there was a problem. They didn't know if it was serious or not. But of course, when you are not sure about something, you have to check it again.
Many players in Europe and in Spain have had some health issues. It's better to be safe, to be sure
that everything is okay, because in the first check test something was wrong. So I was a little bit scared, but at least we made another test. I've had a little bit of difficulty into breath in training. COVID has an impact in this. I remember that when I took the second vaccine of COVID, I had similar feelings about the breath issue, but nothing about the heart, so I don't know. We hope that everything is okay, and tomorrow I will be available for the team to play. What was wrong?
I think with the ECG, they noticed something.
We're good?
So we'll send it over sometime this afternoon.
Justin told me that everything is okay, everything should be all right, so I am more sure that I can train, I can play, so I'm happy to receive that good news. That 48 hours before we got the results, they were a little bit scary. And now that we are sure that everything is okay, it's easy to focus on the game, to focus on be fit and be able to play tomorrow.
All of a sudden during the game, just in general play, started to feel my chest tightening up, shortness of breath, and I was just experiencing like this sharp stabbing pain just below my left pec. The breathing became a lot harder, the chest pains got worse, and I was still just so confused at the time what was going on. Never experienced anything like it before. Just got through to half-time and then got inside.
Okay, Stefan's coming on. Good, Stefan's on.
I think emotionally at first it was just more confusion, if anything. Not knowing what was going on and whether I was just unfit, which again was just confusing because I'd done a lot of training. Okay, get back. Fuck. Yeah. So I ended up going to the hospital that night, getting all the scans, tests done. Yeah, it turns out I had some problems with my lungs and around the heart area. Definitely COVID played a part in it. Once I found out all the results from the tests, it was just more disappointment, if I'm honest. Not knowing what the rest of the season was going to look like, whether I was going to be able to recover 100%. And then, yeah, your mind kind of takes you to a place of, will I ever get back to how I was? A lot of the unknown and just really disappointed and sad about what had happened.
I remember that ball that was going behind to our own goal and feeling that I would arrive before the ball. And then, I don't know, I remember touching the ball and then Jason.
And there's been a clash of heads. Ooh. Spectacular, frightening scenes. Oh, both players have been cut open.
I only remember being on the pitch saying, I want to keep playing. And Ivan and the doctor told to me, wait, I don't think you are going to keep playing. I had the feeling that I lost a couple of teeth because something in my mouth was wrong. I remember telling to Ivan, look for my teeth.
That looks like a nasty gash. It's the end of the night for Rai Marchand. Rai Marchand is going to be sore for a little while.
Oh, it hurts too much. It hurts too much. I can close the area as well.
Okay. Yeah, where does it hurt? When you...
Here.
Just there? And there?
Yeah, a lot.
And I was able to feel that something really wrong has happened in my face, and not only my face, it was in my mouth, everything was hurting, I had a blurry eye as well.
I think it's because it's broken, yeah? How's that? Does that make you feel better?
No.
So you'll need to go to hospital because we need to fix these cuts, and you also need a scan, not only of your head, but you need a scan of the bones around your eye. Yeah.
Then I started realizing that I would be out for a long time.
How much time?
Sometimes it needs an operation, sometimes not. Okay? You'll be okay. You're going to play again.
You start thinking about the future. You start thinking, well, if I have to be out, I don't know, 3 months now, 4 months, all the season. I have played only 8 games. I was enjoying so much being here. And maybe after an injury like that, if you don't come back at your level, maybe you are not going to resign or you are going to be released off, no?
I feel really bad. I'm not feeling good. I can't close my mouth. Something is wrong.
But in the moment, I wasn't afraid of my face. I don't know. I was afraid of not being able to keep playing.
A little bit dizzy.
So was it scary? Yeah, it was. But more about the future, not about the present and my health. I knew my friends and my family were watching the game, so all that responsibility was from Sarah, to speak with my family, to speak with everyone, and she had to be calm, not be scared about what was happening.
Good luck, all right?
My role in football is very much purpose-driven, and the purpose is to, through football, create a better life for Australians. I feel that football has this incredibly unique capacity to move people to be better. There was always almost two sides to your life growing up. One is the Australian side where you go to school and you do the things that normal people do, quote unquote, playing cricket, watching the footy. But then you also have this other side to your life that's deeply cultural and where you live in your Croatian bubble. For us, soccer sat at the heart of that. This is my mum in the background of a photo. This is the first ever North Geelong team, I think, or one of the early teams. My mum had an involvement with that club because my grandfather had been heavily involved in setting up Croatian-backed soccer clubs in Australia when he arrived. My grandfather is from Slavonia, which is around here, this city, Nova Gradiška. My father came to Australia in the late 60s from Croatia and started playing soccer for North Geelong. That migrant experience was everything for us. One of the things that football has given me and our family is the ability to, again, have an anchor to our lives, have a safe place where we can grow as members of our community. Whether it's my grandfather, my parents, myself now, we all owe this huge debt of gratitude to football and what our local club enabled us to do in Australia.
We begin this morning in Afghanistan, where the Taliban has overrun the Afghan army, taking over the country's capital.
The country's women and girls have much to fear, believing the Taliban will strip them of their rights and reimpose a brutal regime of public stonings and beheadings as tools of law and order.
The Afghan women's national team had had serious trouble with their federation. We knew that they'd already experienced all sorts of discrimination and abuse in Afghanistan. When the Taliban took over, they were at extreme risk. So the question was asked around the world, can a country take this team? We need to get them out of Kabul, out of Afghanistan immediately.
The coming together of some great people with this idea that we could make a difference. It's something really special, what they went through to be able to get here to this country and what Craig Foster had done. I think it's historical.
The football community in Australia had to respond to this team because we, of course, are the multicultural game. Knowing Johnny Didalitsa, I called John to say, look, mate, you need to help them because they are just so important. They are a symbol of the right of Afghan girls and women to play sport and to do all the things that we take for granted in a place like Australia. Afghan women and women's rights groups all around the world are following this team rightly because they're so courageous and they represent what the Taliban want to take away from women right across Afghanistan. John went to work straight away and of course Melbourne Victory was straight on and said we would love to do it, love to help them. So the opportunity for them to now play as a Melbourne Victory team in a competition, to stick together, to continue to grow, to get outstanding coaching, that's just an extraordinary thing to be a part of.
When there was an opportunity to work with these brave women who came from Afghanistan in incredibly complex and trying circumstances, not dissimilar to the sorts of situations that many post-World War II migrants found themselves, there was just this perfect symmetry for me to say that here's my opportunity to, I suppose, repay to the community what was given to my grandfather 70 years ago. I think football has this great notion of a shared experience. So I think as a football club, we have this really deep obligation to bring as many different people as possible through our gates. As a part of that commitment to diversity and inclusion and that sense of shared experience, we started working closely with the Pride Cup to recognise and celebrate the LGBTIQ community. Prior to Josh Kewell coming out as, possibly the first openly male gay footballer in professional football.
And still we're waiting for the restart. The Victory fans don't like it.
The first time we heard of the incident was looking on social media and seeing the post that had been put up by Josh. We hadn't been forewarned prior to that, either through security or policing from the game the night before, through Adelaide or through any official channel up until that time. Finding out that way really put us on the back foot in terms of our ability to properly investigate what had happened the night before.
We've had a report that there was a homophobic slur that came out of the eastern side of the stadium as Adelaide player Josh Kewell left the pitch. So we're in the midst of the investigation at the moment. So we're speaking to various stakeholders from the stadium, from the security team, from the marshal team, people that sit on that side of the ground and trawling through, the footage, trying to find people that may have made this homophobic slur.
It was a disgrace. There's a level of protection that needs to be given to Josh because of his act of bravery.
Whether it's the bigotry around Josh's sexuality or any other bigotry, it's just plain wrong.
Homophobic language, racial language, it's not welcome. It's something that we need to tackle and we need to call it out and we need to be really firm and people need to be held accountable for their actions and what they say.
In this day and age, honestly, with the education process that we've had, for there to be a very small pocket of people that still think that they can behave in such a manner, it's unacceptable.
The response has to come hard and firm from the club that that's not acceptable. If they know who the perpetrators are, then action needs to be taken.
I think we spent 2 to 3 weeks on investigating various leads that had come to us. We weren't able to, as part of that process, identify any particular people that were actually Melbourne Victory members that we would have banned had we been able to do that.
It just reiterated how important all the work that clubs are doing in this space is and how much work still needs to be done.
This is not a chore, it's an opportunity to get better, to enjoy your football, okay? So make sure you get your head into this next part, that we do it correctly. Don't ruin an opportunity to get better today.
I've seen Barcelona train, I've seen AC Milan train, I've seen Liverpool train, I've seen Man City train. The attitude of their training, Monday to Friday, is through the roof. The intensity that they put in, they don't go through the motions at training. But that intensity of training actually allows them to play the way they do. The speed that they play at, the power they play at, and of course they have quality. There's no doubt about that. But there's a certain style that they play with. It's a high line, it's compact, it's aggressive. It's like that for 60 games a year. That can only come from the training that allows them to play that way. The way they prepare, their prep work prior to training, their recovery training. These guys just want to win and they want to win more. And their training levels are what separates the best and why you can win things. I feel if the best do it and we want to be the best in Australia, the best club, well, we need to train with that intensity.
I can't handle poor training attitude because that leads to bad performance. You can train shit, I can accept that. And me and the staff will work hard to help you get better. I can accept that every day of the year. When I see in someone's eyes they want to get better every day, I'll do anything for you. Anything, on the park, off the park, for your family, whatever your kids need, I'll fucking do it. But give me the wrong attitude, you're gone for me. Remember, actions over words. Don't talk about how good you want to be. Do it. Reaction, Brookside. Don't be lazy.
Don't accept low standards. Don't accept, okay, my teammates sitting with me in the change room, it's going to be fuck training today. I would never accept that in the change room.
You perform like you've trained. You are walking off happy today.
We want to be competing with the best teams and we feel that our training can give us a chance to do that.
The best they can be and the best engine they can have, the better football we can play.
If your body's not in the best shape, regardless of your talent, you can't perform. If you have a look at the best athletes in the world, you'd probably find that no one eats better than them. They are lean, they are strong, they are powerful. Those players eat the best, sleep the best. They look after themselves better than anyone, and that is why they produce. So when we talk about nutrition, I know that's something that the player can control themselves. How dedicated they are to that usually determines how determined they are to be the best. And that's not me, that's up to them. And if it's too difficult for them, well, they're really not for me then. They're not for my club.
It's painful, everything. I see my face in the mirror and I can realize that something is wrong now. The unique solution is to have surgery, so I trust in the doctor.
Ready to go?
They had to put a plate here in the bone close to my right eye. And then he put me like braces and rubbers, trying to alienate my bite and They said that they succeed, so that's good to know it. Because of the COVID situation, we had to share the rooms with, we were like 4 people. One in particular who was a fan from Melbourne Victory. She gave me a letter when we were about to leave, thanking me for being here, for playing for Victory, and it was really nice to recite this letter and see that we have fans and they support us in good moments, but as well in bad moments.
How are you? I'm feeling, you look like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He looks like...
The only pain that it's really annoying is in the mouth, because I can't open.
Did Jason say sorry to you?
Not yet, eh?
Hey!
You eating yet?
When you take this now?
Only 4 weeks, eh?
4 weeks with this?
You have to think that now I am thin. Imagine in 4 weeks.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible. No.
He came in and he's got braces, just couldn't eat for at least 4 weeks. He's eating through a straw, and and he's coming in and he's smiling, and he can hardly smile. His face is puffed up and swollen, and that's the guy that he is.
Some say you look better than how can they say this? How can these players say this about you?
Even his English improved.
We have a player that is very strong in terms of his focus, his mentality, his positivity. It actually rubs off on people.
Everybody loves Ray. He's a very good guy. He's very peculiar. He's always happy, but he's always annoying with somebody, always complaining. So we have these 2 things, and everybody loves Ray. This is true.
The FFA Cup concept that started probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a knockout competition, a little bit along the lines of the English FA Cup. We wanted to win trophies, so this was the first one available to this new squad and this new coaching crew, and it also came with the added bonus of a Champions League playoff spot. So there was really a lot to gain.
Things are changing incredibly rapidly. We're being fed things from the league, from the governments, from federal, state, and navigating that is challenging for us, but we're doing our best to keep ahead of it. Everybody here should have had a negative rat. The Chief Medical Officer of the league has instructed us not to do rapid antigen tests whilst you're travelling on the day of the game. If you arrive in Adelaide and you aren't feeling well, or you feel you're developing symptoms of COVID, then the onus is on you to report that to South Australian Health Department. Okay, so that's your decision that you'll make. If you do that, you'll do isolation for 10 days in Adelaide, but ultimately that's something you'll need to assume the responsibility of.
It's a quarter-final. The journey so far, a lot of you haven't played, but there are boys here that have gone to 3 away trips. We have to qualify for this tournament. Huh? We have to qualify just to make the round of 32. So that's how hard the journey's been. Away game, twice in Adelaide. Gold Coast. Now again Adelaide. Let's give it everything, huh? There's a chance here to go to a semi-final. So let's not disappoint today with a shit performance. Resilience, aggression, winning mentality, and then fucking play your football. And go from here into a semi-final.
It was the very first time that we had placed a number of our first team in the cup run. Before that particular quarterfinals, we had a younger group. There was a little bit of tension about securing a semi-final berth. To come into now what was the big test against Adelaide, no NPL sides.
Ivan Caliver might be about to find out, as he does, and he has!
That's probably the first taste of character.
Jake Brimmer, ball in, perfectly weighted, and it's Josh Brillante. Trado, he's been caught in possession by Marjota. Brimmer, now for Marjota, appeals for a handball penalty. And Victory lead Adelaide, having come from behind by 2 goals to 1.
We saw 20 players plus coaching staff in a corner of a dressing room watching a penalty shootout between Melbourne City and Wellington Phoenix, knowing that the winner of this game we were going to play.
Come on, son!
We come away from a victory against Adelaide United. We know we're playing Wellington Phoenix. This run could be a possibility that we could end up, if things fall into place, this might be a chance.
So a spot in the FFA Cup final goes on the line. Piscopo gliding it through. Gary.
We had so much possession. The players, I felt, had so much time and space that they actually got confused as to what they should be doing. If we score one, we'll go and score more here.
With a bullet.
One goal became two.
Dazzling. D'Agostino.
Two became three.
What a second half turnaround by Melbourne Victory, and you've got to give credit to Tony Popovich.
There was no panic, only disappointment that we weren't leading in the first half.
Victory are back where they belong.
We came from behind a few times to win the games. We came back against Gold Coast, we came back against Adelaide in the quarterfinal, we came back against Wellington in the semi-final.
Our performances were getting better and better. As the games went on, we used the whole team to get through, and then started realising we had a shot at lifting some silverware.
When we get the final, we were laughing, especially with Robbie, with Roxy. Everybody say, hey, how the hell we are here?
Here we go! We're letting everyone in now!
I think the semi-final against Wellington was an indicator to me that we were going to win the FA Cup. We were going to go all the way.
Okay, good? You're welcome.
Let's go! Yes!
Oh, yeah, buddy! Come on, Ash! Come on, Ash! Come on! Woo! What a win, Ash!
Oh, he saved it. Wow.
So I was a crying mess, telling the boys, don't take this for granted. This may never happen again. I mean, it goes all the way back to 2005. This new competition was coming on board, and teams with ridiculous names like Melbourne Victory, Central Coast Mariners, and, you know, I mean, there were names that didn't mean anything. And I made the decision at that point that if your love for football is going to extend to following a club, then here's the entry to do that. The essence of the terrace is an incredibly interesting, multi-dimensional thing. Football's always had this sort of ethnic link to it. Well, come and stand on the terrace and count, if you're capable, you know, how many ethnic mixes there are. It's just a melting pot of Victorian society, and all with a common cause of getting behind a team. I love being behind the goals. I love singing with the rest of the active support, and I'd stand on the roof of a toilet block if that's what I had to do to watch the team play.
Plays it off the pond on the Aku, drifts it in, and it's a goal for Melbourne!
I often have people that say to me, geez, you're lucky that you were there. I mean, how good would it have been that you were there on that day when they scored that many goals or they won that trophy? And I usually respond, well, I was also there on all the days that we didn't, and I was there on the days when it was miserable. But that's surely what a sports fan is, right? You know, you go with everything that it serves up. I didn't quite realise that 18 years later I'd still be doing it, raising 4 kids on the terrace, travelling all over the country to follow this amazing team, Melbourne Victory, but so glad that I did it.
You never really knew where you stood with Popper, which I liked. We all used to mess around. Typical dressing room banter. And if you caught Pops on a bad day, it would be a stare. It'd be a stare, and it'd be, you've just crossed the mark, young man. He was a fantastic defender. He was, he would nitty-gritty. He would, win 50-50s and win the balls in the air, and he certainly had the kudos and respect from his teammates, for sure.
Popovich!
Fabulous penalty once again. Putting his penalty into the back of the net, like myself's, was a great moment for him. When in the end we got promotion, beating West Ham, so absolutely he contributed. And by that particular time, he contributed on and off the pitch as well. He become a real leader off the pitch. When I taken over as a manager, my only signing I had to make was Tony Popovich.
I got called in by Dougie to assist him with Crystal Palace on his journey to be a head coach, a manager.
The whole playing squad, they all had his respect, a lot of admiration for him and how he sort of carried himself and the demands that he put on the players on the training pitch.
He built relationships with the players, with the management staff and with the fans. So it kind of describes what he is. You know, he is a team builder.
After months of speculation, finally some tangible details regarding the A-League's newest franchise. Coach Tony Popovic is confident of the Wanderers making an immediate impact on the A-League.
There will be a very competitive team round one. Fans can be rest assured that they'll have a team out there that they can be proud of.
He's come back from Crystal Palace, straight from the airport, bloodshot eyes. He's come to my house and he showed me this presentation. And at this time we only had about, I think it was 6 players signed, and he showed me this presentation and it said performance, points and premiership. He pressed the next slide and he said Asian Champions League winners. Look, I'm not one to disappoint, right? I'm probably more a realist. I've got a legal background, I deal with realistic items. I said to him, well, that's great. How about we sign 12, 15 players before you show it the first time?
His DNA was all over that club, that team.
From the first moment with Western Sydney Wanderers, which was a big project to put together a new team to compete, and then to compete so brilliantly, was a really outstanding effort.
One thing that he had was a belief that, you know, nothing's going to derail this.
Always remember that fresh-faced look he had and that hunger and determination. And it transcended into Wanderers and what they achieved, because those early heydays of the Wanderers were absolutely phenomenal.
Before the final stages of the Champions League, Popper and the club took us to Dubai for a training camp.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done mentally and physically. We went to Dubai in summer, and it was 50 degrees, and we were training in the morning, like 11 o'clock, when people were looking at us like, you're crazy to go outside. And I probably agree that it was actually crazy. It was a test to see, would we go into the fires of hell? Because it felt like that. Would we do that for success? And we did it, and we didn't complain about it. Mentally, if we got through that, we could get through anything.
We probably, as a group, didn't believe that we could achieve anything in the competition due to, firstly, never being there, the budgets we were coming up against, the travel schedule. We'd never experienced anything like it before. To go on and win the competition was pretty much going to be a miracle. But Popper had an expectation.
The Western Sydney Wanderers, champions of Asia.
He really put everything into that campaign.
I cannot see another team in Australia winning that championship. You know how hard it is to win that. You cannot be lucky to win that championship.
To win a Champions League with that group of players that he had, with that budget, incredible achievement that probably doesn't get recognised the way it should.
We don't have the resources or the funds that a lot of these teams have, but we have something that money can't buy. That desire to win. We were called a small club yesterday. Today we are the biggest in Asia.
We won the Champions League and we had to come back and travel to Wellington. We were literally on a plane the next day, so we didn't really get to celebrate the Champions League win properly.
It was back to business pretty quickly after the final. I think the focus switched pretty quickly to the Wellington game.
Tonight, the 2021 FFA Cup winner will be crowned, and either Melbourne Victory or the Central Coast Mariners will write their name into Australian football history.
It's not a normal game. It's a final. It's a trophy on the line. I've dreamt of this day a long time. I know that anything's possible with you. Your action shows a winning mentality every single day. Mind clear, no fear, just prepared for the game of your life. Walk out together, and when that whistle blows, an intensity that Central Coast have never seen before.
This is Melbourne, and this is the Cup final.
Melbourne Victory resurgent. It's going to be a cracking cup final.
It's pretty attritional out there at the moment as the corner is floated towards Jason Garrioud. It's been very tight.
It's been really tight, everything you expect in a final. Everyone's on edge.
Great noise from behind the goal. Brimmer in, it flashes across the face. They'll appeal for hands again. Across comes Steele. Salami's around him. What a tackle. Well, they're knocking on the door, Melbourne victory. Here's Rojas. Still Rojas, he's tripped surely. It is Jason Davidson. Oh, what a goal! That is a goal worthy of a cup final. Possibly to win a cup final. Still couldn't win the ball. It's Margiotta for victory on the right. They got numbers here. It's Economides. Can he finish it? Chris Economides wins the cup for Melbourne victory. Like an arrow into that left-hand corner. It's their late consolation for the Mariners. That's surely all it will be now. Bozanic, they've got one. Ollie Bozanic. Scare for Melbourne victory. They have won the cup for the first time in over 6 years. Tony Popovic has a trophy, a maiden win in a domestic cup final as the home team triumphs once again on cup final day. It is victory. FFA Cup winners for 2021.
You know, first piece of silverware for myself as captain, so it was a brilliant moment, something I'll never forget.
One of the best goals I've scored in my career. To score a goal in a final like that and to win a trophy, that's just, you know, something special.
It was very special, I think, to be out of the game for 2 years and then come back and taste that success cemented in my head that I'd made the right decision to return to professional football.
That trophy, you can truly say that is the definition of a team, because everybody contributes to that.
Everybody was so happy. I think even for the fans, they deserve some silverware after these couple of years that's not so good. It was a group victory, like a medal for everybody, a medal that say that Melbourne victory is coming again.
Every trophy's different, the feeling's different. And this one had a little bit of relief in it as well, that we'd been through such an awful time at this club, on and off the pitch. It was a great reward for all the hard work that so many people had put in.
To celebrate in front of our fans and members, you know, we couldn't have scripted it any better in the end.
Carbohydrates are here.
Congratulations. Okay, it's a wonderful achievement from everyone. I said it before the game, 31 players played in this. We started in a playoff to try and make the cup, and then tonight we celebrate. Okay, so it's a special achievement. Enjoy this. I made a mistake once. Champions League, I was lucky enough to win that. I didn't celebrate after that. I said to myself, the next thing I win with a group, we will enjoy it. So enjoy tonight, there's special moments, and then come on Monday afternoon and one more. And then one more. Enjoy this taste, because it fucking tastes so good, all right? It tastes so good to win something. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Yes, boss! Vamos, Ray!
It's been a nightmare. I believe that was the turning point.
I had to be better than everyone else. Don't fucking walk in there.
Here's where magic happens.
And that fucking pisses me off.
There was certainly not panic stations, nowhere near.
On his left! Rojas!